So this Revit, this version, this model is not part of Kinship at the moment. It's not being tracked by Kinship at the moment. So there is there's one more button here, model sync status. And so that tells me what is the status of my model with respect to Kinship. Is it synchronized and up to date or not? So in this case, because this model is work shared but is not part of Kinship, it offers me this dialog. And this is the dialog that users will see. Well, the first user who does a sync with Central with this model will see. And they then have the choice, well, they then have the choice, do I want to add this to Kinship? Do I want to add it as a private model? We talked about, private models. Or do I decide, I don't want to add it? And if you say close, that's the same as saying I don't want to add it. Now, once the first person has made this choice, especially the do not add choice, right, we do not ask anyone else. So the first person says, close or do not add. And then after that, whenever someone does a sync with Central, there's no pop-up. You can always go back and bring that pop-up again using model sync status, and then make a different choice at that time. So to get to Kinship from your model, from Revit, the easiest way is to use this open in Kinship. And that will take me to the project page in Kinship and log me in automatically. We have a little icon in the system tray, and you can also open Kinship from here. Okay, but I'm actually going to use a different Kinship site to walk through the models. So this is the projects page, which is the default page that you will come to when you first kind of join Kinship. And at the top, we have your recently updated models. So these are models that you're working on that you have most recently updated. And these are the models that are most recently added to Kinship. We then have unassigned models. So you may recall that I said we try and place models in the correct project. So if we can't figure it out, this is where they come. And you can then assign it to a project from here. And that will take you to this page, which allows you to select a project to assign it to, or indeed to create a completely new project to assign it to. Then we have the projects and also the servers. So which servers the central files are located on. So let's go and have a look at the models. So if I click the seal, so this is going to show me all the models that I'm part of the team of. And again, I have the same kind of controls. Now I'm going to look at this one, Portland Station. So I click on that. Yeah. So one thing is you may remember that there was a blue kind of open next to the model. So that does the same as here. So this is the central file. And I can, using this open, and wherever you see this little blue open sign, that means that I can open this model directly from Kinship and again from the web. And again, this means that I have an appropriate version of Revit installed on my machine. It'll be grayed out if not. This is the central file location. It's a bit old because it's using a map drive. Now it will use a UNC, kind of like server name, or like BIM 360 if you're using BIM 360. So then we have kind of the overview of the project status, the client name, project issue date. We pull the project information workset and put it here. So, we have that information. We have some basic information about the Revit file size, how many links, the families, how many instances, and something about the last sync with Central. and how many have been done in the past week, and then the Revit version that we're using. Underneath that, we have the health. So this is how many syncs have been done over the past 30 days, of the past month. And if anyone is using a slightly older subversion of Revit, it shows in this kind of orangey color. We can see the source of the families that are part of this model. So, you know, whether it came from like a template out of the box means that it's an Autodesk family. It came out of the box from Autodesk, or a network folder. So we can see, you know, at a high level where the different families came from, who's using a slightly older release of Revit, and then the most active team members over the last month, and what their kind of average sync time was and what their worst sync time was. We then have a set of tabs that allow us to kind of dive into more detail on what the families have, what the model has. So we have links. So this is any linked Revit files. That are linked. We have all the families. So you may recall that I said, you know, we upload all the families when you add a model to Kinship. So this is where they all are. And I can, you know, I have filters to sort this. I can sort, and I have filters to filter down the contents of this one. So I can say, you know, I want to know ones with warnings. So here I have some with warnings, and here I have a corrupt one. So a warning is if we run some kind of best practice checks, like does it have a default type, and if it fails those checks, it gets a warning. A corrupt family means we tried to extract it from the model, but we couldn't. So the corrupt family is generally like a more serious problem and probably something that you would want to look at. We have history. So the history has, again, some kind of summary at the top of the number of families with a number of instances. I can actually look at this on a kind of per user basis, or I can select multiple users. But by default, it will be the whole team. We have a graph that shows the number of syncs with central and the number of those that have failed, these red and orange. And then these bars, the lines are kind of, the red is the number of families, the green is the number of instances, and the black is the file size. So you can use this to see, you know, am I seeing sudden changes or anything like that? And then underneath that, we have every sync with central that has happened since this model was added to Kinship. And for each sync with central, we have who did it, which machine they were using, the Revit version. Did they change any families? They add families? Did they remove any? Did they modify any? How many instances did they modify? What the sync with central time was? What the project size is? If there was any warnings. So if it's more recent than Revit 2018, we'll have warnings here. If there's any Revit warnings, any comments. So if people have commented when they do a sync with central, we put it here, and then the date. And you know, and so this goes back through time till the beginning of the sync, till it first joined Kinship. And this is where you can see, you know, how's the file size doing, and what the kind of sync times are that people are seeing. And then we have the team. So this is all the members who are working on this project. And if you recall, you get added automatically when you do a sync with central, so you don't need to invite people. And it shows, you know, who's been active, how many syncs with central they've done, the last comment that they made, and when they were last active, when they last did a sync with central with this model. So that's everything for the for the model. So now let's go and quickly have a look at a project. So we do have this more menu at the end here. So you can move a model. So if you say move, it's very like doing the initial assignment. Only admins can move models between projects. So that would have the same look that we looked at before. Remove from Kinship will, we will stop tracking this model. And then view project will take me from the model to the project. And here we can see Portland Station, but now we're at the model level, the project level. And so the project has very similar information. You see it looks very similar, but now we're aggregating all that data by all the models together. So the one different tab here is models. So here we have the 3 models that make up this project. And I can select and I can move or delete these models from here as well.